Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Ohio.
The latter third of a 9-game homestand kicks off tonight. The Reds welcome in the San Francisco Giants, first of 3 of a weekend set. And all the action's coming up here on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi again, everyone. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Jim Day. Thanks for joining us for Reds baseball. The Reds, unfortunately, will be without Joey Votto. That leg, after being hit by a pitch in Washington, progressively worse. They had to put him on the disabled list.
You know, having Joey Votto in your ball club, it gets you kind of lazy because you think that no matter what, if the sun rises in the morning, Joey Votto will be in the lineup in the evening. Well, it's not that way anymore. He's going on the disabled list. You see he got hit by that Ryan Madson pitch when the Reds were in Washington, and that problematic knee just got worse and worse, and they finally decided to disable him for the first time since about 2014, and the Reds are really going to miss him in the middle of this lineup.
You can see since being hit by a pitch, his numbers went down. It not only affected him running in the field, it also affected him at the plate. So, at first base tonight, Tucker Barnhart. Let me say that again, Tucker Barnhart at first base. He'll make his first start at any level, including high school, at first base tonight.
It gives you a little bit of insight what Jim Riggleman is up against right now and trying to field a team that is a competitive ball club. You're sending a guy out there who's had a very good year at the plate but has never played first base before. It also is a commentary on the Reds minor league system of not having somebody able at the AAA level to step up here and play, at first base in Joey Votto's absence. So there's a lot of stuff going on here in Cincinnati right now. Jim Riggleman is just trying to win a ball game.
We'll have a lot of stuff on Tucker Barnhart and his thoughts on playing first base coming up throughout the game broadcast. On the mound, the Reds will give the ball to Anthony DeSclafani, and boy, Chris, his last 2 times out have been really, really good.
Oh, that's the good news. Maybe you don't need a first baseman here tonight with DeSclafani on the mound because he's been throwing the ball extremely well. One of the best pitchers over the last couple of weeks in all of baseball. 12 consecutive scoreless innings for DeSclafani. I'll tell you what's working for him. He's been able to get that fastball inside the left-handers, run it back out over the plate. His slider is working very well against right-handers. This Giants lineup is not a mammoth home run hitting team. They don't score all that many runs. This is a good matchup tonight for DeSclafani.
And he'll be facing a feel-good story tonight. Casey Kelly goes to the hill for the Giants. He's the son of Reds bench coach Pat Kelly.
It really is amazing. I mean, there's all sorts of subplots going on tonight, but you have to figure that in the dugout of the Reds right now, when Pat Kelly, the bench coach, is looking out at his son Casey Kelly, he's thinking, I know the Reds need a win, but my son really needs a win. He was just called up from the AAA system a couple of starts ago. In fact, he just pitched in a ball game just a couple of nights ago. So this is a real emergency starts here tonight for Casey Kelly.
A boatload of emotions tonight, and we'll experience him together. We're warming you up for the Reds and Giants. When we come back, we're talking about a giant shellacking. The Reds would like to duplicate what happened here last year. Stay with us.
through the 7th inning and into the final out. Some scattered storms roaming the area tonight around Great American Ballpark. Enjoy the game here on Fox Sports Ohio.
Well, the Giants took 2 out of 3 from the Reds earlier this season in San Francisco. The Reds hope to turn the tables here at Great American Ballpark. And if last year has anything to do with this year, they just might do it. It's our game storyline presented by Elk and Elk. Giants and the Reds played last year, May 5th through the 7th at GABP. The Reds swept them 3-0. They beat them 31-5, 13-3, 14-2, 5-0. Most runs in a 3-game series since 2005. They had 376, 5 homers. They had 16 extra base hits in that 3-game series, and they hope to keep those numbers alive again after being beaten by the Cleveland Indians. So it's Fireworks Friday, and Anthony DeSclafani goes to the hill against Casey Kelly. Maybe more fireworks in the offing.
We will take it. It is dry right now as the Reds and Giants are set to get it on here. First of 3, and there you're looking at Tucker Barnhart, who will make his first career start at any level. We're talking about little leagues, high school, pro baseball. Never started at first base. He has logged 3 innings with the Reds in double switches, but hopefully he'll play some solid defense behind this guy, Anthony DeSclafani. He'll make his 13th start of the season, 3rd career appearance and start versus the Giants, and the last 2 times out have been very, very good for DeSclafani. Bruce Bochy, one of the best managers in the game. And here's how he'll line them up tonight. A familiar face in the leadoff spot, and that being the former Pirate Andrew McCutchen, as he is out now hitting leadoff for the Giants. And there's the guy they call Kutch. Full lineup looks like this. Alan Hansen will be in left field. Buster Posey, one of the best in the game behind the plate. Brandon Belt, Reds killer. He might be on the top of that list this season. Evan Longoria mans third base nowadays for the Giants. Brandon Crawford at shortstop. Joe Panik at second base. Steven Duggar in center. And the pitcher is Casey Kelly. DeSclafani, Chris, back-to-back starts of 7 innings, 1 run and scoreless 7 innings last time out.
Well, you know, when you put those kind of outings back to back, it's not luck. You're in a groove, and when a pitcher is in a groove, the ball comes out of his hand in an effortless way. He's able to keep his head still. He doesn't need a lot of work in between starts. It's more or less going down the bullpen and just kind of getting loose and working on your wedges, so to say. Just nice, easy bullpen work. His breaking ball is very good, but for DeSclafani, when he is really in a groove, he's able to hit the edges of the plate. And he loves to nick away at the outside edge with a slider to right-handers and the inside edge to the left-handers with his fastball. So that's probably what he's going to be doing here to the Giants tonight.
Hasn't faced this Giants team since 2016 in his 2 career starts against the Giants, a 1-1 and an ERA that is up there. First pitch to Andrew McCutchen is in for a called strike, and we are underway. 81-degree game time temperature. A little muggy today, but again, it's dry. We'll take it. Here's a ground ball. Suarez. Barnhart gets his first ball thrown his way, and there's 1 out in the inning. Here's the rest of the Reds lineup. Brought to you by Ford. Your defensive lineup looks like this. Preston Tucker getting the start in left field tonight. Billy Hamilton in center field, and he will lead off tonight in the batting order. Mason Williams in right field. The aforementioned Suarez, Peraza, Scooter Gennett, Tucker, Barnhart, and Kurt Casale hanging the signs. And there's Barnhart. That glove he has is Brandon Dixon's glove. And it has been what Tucker called the community first base glove, as we've seen a number of players in double switches play first base for the Reds this season. He got word that he was starting at first base yesterday and jokingly thought, well, maybe I should go to Dick's Sporting Goods and buy me a first base glove, but I probably don't have time to break it in, so I'm going to have to borrow one. Here's one grounded sharply to Gennett, and 2 outs in the inning. Alan Hansen retired.
You know, baseball's a funny game. It's one of the rare games where really, if you have a glaring weakness on your ball club, you know, in football, the opposing team would just attack that weakness one after another. If you've got a rookie that's never played in a certain position and he's playing cornerback, you know that quarterback is going to throw at that cornerback all night long. Well, you can't do that really in baseball. It just kind of is what it is. What you may see, though, is fewer dramatic shifts out there with Tucker Barnhart than you would with Joey Votto. I mean, the main key for Barnhart right now, he wants to make sure that he gets to the bag in time, that he's not trying to feel for the bag at the same time the ball is coming across to him from the infield.
Counts 2 balls and no strikes to Buster Posey. Well, we showed you in the open that video we showed of Barnhart was him working earlier today, and we'll have a lot more on Tucker coming up. But he basically said, I'm going to treat it like catching. I'm just going to try to knock everything down and keep it in front of me if I get ground balls hit at me.
That's always a good theory. That's the old school way about fielding ground balls, getting it in front of you.
DeSclafani needs a strike and a 4-pitch walk to Buster Posey.
You know, that's kind of one of these things, I think, where you have a mental lapse. Buster Posey is nowhere near the offensive player that he used to be. Only 5 home runs on the year. His slugging average is way down. He still gets on base an awful lot, but his legs and his hips are so old and tired from catching so much. He just doesn't have the pop in his bat that he once had.
And here's Brandon Belt, and boy, has he been on the Reds killer list. 4th highest OPS at Great American Ballpark amongst active players at 1.117. There you see his numbers overall on the season.
He's probably wondering how the ball didn't hit him.
Yeah. One-0. That'll drift out of play. 1-1's the count.
I really like the way that DeSclafani is just fearless about pitching left-handers inside. I mean, in this ballpark, that's really the only way you're going to survive. Johnny Cueto did it. And if you're a right-handed pitcher and you face a lineup that has a lot of left-handers in it, this isn't exactly loaded with them. There's only, I think, you got a switch hitter at the top and 3 others. But you've got to come in there on them from time to time.
1-1. Suarez will go the long way over to Barnhart. A walk, no problem. Reds coming up. The Reds to win, but his son Casey Kelly is on the hill for the Giants tonight.
Well, I have the best seat in the house. You know, I mean, usually I'm up in the stands with a hot dog and a beer the few times I get to see him pitch. So, you know, I'll be up close, and it's fun. I enjoy watching him pitch. I don't get to see it that often, so I'm going to enjoy it.
Can't imagine being in that dugout as a father, because you're fighting with, okay, I'm the bench coach, I'm a Reds employee, but that's my kid out there. I want him to do well.
Well, we had something similar last year when John Farrell, the Red Sox, and Luke Farrell of the Reds, you know, Luke pitched against his dad's ball club. But this is even a little bit more close to home, I think, especially given the fact that Pat Kelly's been around the Reds for so long as a minor league manager. And, of course, Casey Kelly tagged along with him for year after year after year. While his dad was managing in the minor leagues.
Billy Hamilton leading off tonight. First time he's led off since April 26th. Going back to the Kellys. Pat Kelly was talking to the media before the game. He said in a perfect world he would throw 6 shutout innings and then we beat their bullpen. That'll be all right with me.
Well, he's really worked hard to get back up to the major leagues. I mean, he was last year in spring training, he was with the Atlanta Braves. He got released. I think it was with the Braves anyway. And maybe it was the Chicago Cubs. He got released out of spring training. He's been down in Sacramento, the AAA franchise for the Giants, and he's pitched very good baseball. But it's been a series of injuries to the guys in the Giants rotation, including Johnny Cueto, that has finally opened the door for Casey Kelly to make his mark here in the big leagues.
Hamilton line drive, base hit, right field. And that's a 9-game hitting streak for Billy. So put him back on top of the order, and he delivers at least here in inning number 1.
A little slider that just kind of hangs right up there about belt high for Billy. Nice smooth swing. Didn't try to do too much with it. That's a little bit more like it when you see Billy Hamilton at the plate. What you really don't want to see him do is, you know, drop his back shoulder and try to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
So here we go, the drama of Billy on first base. And Jose Peraza batting in the 2 spot tonight. And Kelly will pay immediate attention to Hamilton, who has 29 steals and 34 attempts.
Well, Kelly's very athletic. In fact, when he was originally drafted in the first round, he was drafted as much as a shortstop as he was a pitcher.
In fact, he played the first half of his professional season in the Red Sox organization as a shortstop. Popped up. McCutchen, 1 out. And here's your 4 defensive lineup for the Giants. Hansen in left, Steven Duggar in center field. Cutchin, who just gloved out number 1 in right. Longoria, Crawford, Panic, Belt, and Buster Posey hanging the signs for Casey Kelly. And that'll bring up a former high school teammate of Casey Kelly, one Scooter Jeanette, Sarasota High School. And those two combined to win the 2007 Class 6A state championship. Kelly was a shortstop, which moved Scooter Jeanette to second base. And they won the state championship that year, the 8th and most recent state title for Sarasota High. And here are the two facing each other in Major League Baseball.
Really is amazing. There are a lot of little subplots going on, and that's one of the ones right here.
Little wink of the eye, a little acknowledgement. Nice. Pretty big lead for Hamilton at first base. And had him leaning and got him.
Well, that's a quick move there by Casey Kelly. It really reminds you of how quick Johnny Cueto was going over to first base. The left-handed throwing first baseman, it's a lot easier to put the tag down, and Brandon Belt's able to get it right down there. And the other thing about that is look where Brandon Belt is standing there in front of the bag. He's only giving Billy Hamilton about half that base to be able to get back to.
1-0 to Scooter.
Watch where Belt's got his foot right here. I mean, you know, as a runner, you're always going to the outside part of the base anyway. But he's taking away as much of that first base as he possibly can.
And those left-handed throwing first basemen, what an advantage it is. You're catching with that right hand. And that is Kelly's first big league pickoff. So he'll file that one away. One of the best base stealers in the game, if not the best. First pickoff. And they'll pay the price because Scooter Jeanette into right field for a base hit. And that would have sent Hamilton to third, no doubt. The 2-out batter will be Eugenio Suarez. Suarez, .296 batter, 26 home runs. That is 6th best in the league, tied for 6th best. And still trailing Javier Baez by 1 RBI for the National League lead. Sitting at 88. Up the middle and into center field, a base hit. Wasted no time, right through the box, and now first and second, 2 outs. Preston Tucker.
The Reds aren't hitting him hard, but they're finding some holes right here. This one right through the box after Jeanette was able to squeeze one into right field, and the leadoff base hit by Hamilton over the second baseman's head.
And here's Tucker, .254 batter, 5 home runs, 26 RBIs. Getting a lot of playing time since being traded over from the Braves, and Jim Riggleman has made no bones about it. He likes left-handed bats in the lineup against righty starters.
Worked well for the Indians.
And it was working well for the Reds for a long time with Winker in there, Schebler in the lineup, and both of them not available at the moment. Cutchin has it. Couple of hits, Reds strand 2 through 1, scoreless. Aristides Aquino, called up from Double-A Pensacola. And there you see his numbers at Double-A, and you want to talk about some raw power now.
Boy.
This guy right here, if and when he gets into a game, it will be his major league debut. In fact, his highest point of his pro career, he has not played above Double-A. But when he hits them, they stay hit. Longoria, Crawford, panic here in the top of the second against DeSclafani. Broken bat, and Barnhart, his first try, and nicely done.
Well, he probably feels more comfortable doing that than he would even covering a ground ball at first base. He's been catching pop-ups forever, going near the seats forever as a catcher, of course. That ball's got a lot of spin on it. The only difference here, he's got a bigger glove.
Yeah, he was saying it's amazing going from a catcher's mitt to a first baseman's glove. And really trying to get the feel of catching it in the webbing, because as a catcher you don't do that a whole lot.
On purpose.
Right. This Giants team an even 61-61 on the season. They are 6 games back of the Arizona Diamondbacks in the NL West, and 6.5 games back out of the wild card race. They have not been good on the road. In fact, the 4th worst road record, and the runs per game are actually 2nd lowest in all of Major League Baseball. As down goes Brandon Crawford, first punch out for DeSclafani.
Well, it's a ball club really without any power. And in San Francisco, of course, it's a pitcher's ballpark. But when you get on the road and you're playing some smaller ballparks, you got to have some guys that pop it out of there. And most all of the guys that have had power in the past, guys like Longoria, Crawford, Buster Posey, having off years when it comes to the long drive or the home run hitting area.
You just went golf on us for a minute.
Well,
there.
I mean hitting the long ball is what I meant to say.
That's all right.
You know, you're driving the ball and you're hitting it long.
When you have golf on the brain, it makes me feel good. But you're right. This you look down the lineup, and as far as the power numbers go and the RBI numbers, they're just don't match up to other teams. 3 up, 3 down inning for DeSclafani, and a scoreless game, Reds and Giants.
a Scott Schebler bobblehead presented by PNC Bank. See your Reds take on the Giants for as low as $12. For tickets, visit Reds.com. And of course, guys, Scott Schebler still on the DL. Or, you know, it's interesting, Chris and Jim, as we talk to Jim Riggleman each and every day. He is here. He has started throwing a throwing protocol, but is not yet left for the minors to get a game or two in before he returns to the club. It's an interesting situation that changes almost daily.
Jim Riggleman talked before the game. Pickens said he's going to hit tomorrow, and they're hopeful that he goes out Sunday somewhere and on a rehab assignment. Go back out. They had to shut him down from a rehab assignment not long ago. They pulled him back as Barnhart drives one the other way, and this one won't be fielded. It's off the wall, and Barnhart into second base with a leadoff double, his 18th of the season.
How about Tucker Barnhart doing his best Joey Votto impersonation right there? Opposite field, slicing away from the left fielder, one hopping the left field wall. Right now, Casey Kelly got balls up in the zone to just about everybody except for Suarez. And Tucker's been hitting that ball the other way more and more here recently, and that's why his batting average is beginning to climb.
One thing that Barnhart said he was looking forward to is his legs at the plate. Kurt Casale said, man, you're not going to believe how good your legs are going to feel after not squatting all night behind home plate. And he was looking forward to a full game of being able to hit after not catching every other half inning. Here's Mason Williams, a .281 batter. And a strike called. Casey Kelly, 6'3", 215. He's now 28 years of age and has spent 10 years in the minor leagues. And his dad, Pat Kelly, was talking about how proud he was of his perseverance. And this one lined right at Longoria. In fact, father and son, as Kurt Casale comes to the plate, had breakfast this morning. And Casey Kelly was questioning his dad about the Reds hitters. And Pat Kelly was being a little coy. He said, I haven't been this silent in a long time today.
He likes to talk.
He does like to talk, but didn't want to give away scouting reports on his team. So he's like, son, we need to talk about something else. Not necessarily baseball right now. Got the whole family here tonight, but he jokingly said they certainly didn't come to see me. They are here to see Casey, who found out only last night that he was starting. Sally, right center field, that'll fall. They're going to wave around Barnhart, and the Reds have 1-0 lead.
Oh boy, Casale's done such a nice job for the Reds. The pitchers like throwing to him, and he gets the ball and just dumps it right in front of the right fielder right here. You know, another pitch up around waist high for Casey Kelly. And you're just wondering, you know, for a young man that's been starting his entire season in the minor leagues, and you get called back after a short rest, just a couple of days since being in the game, just not being able to finish his pitches and get him down where he needs to be, which is down around the knees.
Stefani showing bunt. So the Reds draw first blood here. Longoria, as you see, in on the grass. Steve Stefani shows bunt early and fouls it off. Swinging away, or at least thought about it. Looks at strike two, though, does DeSclafani. Two outs. And back to the top of the order, Billy Hamilton. We talked about Kelly being a shortstop, terrific athlete. He was originally drafted in the first round, 30th overall by Boston in 2008. He was also offered a scholarship to play baseball and football at the University of Tennessee. He was a quarterback in high school. Two-time regional player of the year, and whatever region you're talking about in Florida, that's a football-rich state. So he was some type of quarterback. Drafted as a pitcher, but wanted to play shortstop. And the Red Sox allowed him to do that. Pitched the first half of 2009 as a pitcher. Actually pitched in the All-Star Futures game as Hamilton check swing, excuse me. High throw, but an out. But the Reds get a run. Double Barnhart, RBI single Casale.
Is Tucker Barnhart at first base. He said he was totally caught off guard when he received a text from Jim Riggleman yesterday asking if he was up to the job. As for advice, he said he's asking anyone and everyone.
Asking about anybody and everybody what to do at first base. No, I mean, I'm just going to try and approach it like a catcher, and if anything's hit that way, just knock it down however I can. So just hopefully I don't trip and fall going to cover first base.
So far, so good for Tucker. And you heard Shannon mention that he was caught off guard. So much so, to take that a step further, Shannon, he said he got that text that she was talking about at 10:30 in the morning yesterday. And it was an off day for the Reds. And he texted back to Jim Riggleman and said, "Are you drinking this early on an off day?" And Riggleman supposedly wrote back, "Yes. But I'm serious, you're starting at first base." And he said he got kind of nervous about it, but then, you know what, thought about it, like, I'm a ball player. I can pull this off. This one down the left field line. And on his way to second base is Steven Duggar with a leadoff double.
Pretty good bit of hitting, but once he put that ball into play, he can run a little bit too. Nice, quick, easy gait for him as he is off the second base after slicing this ball. So you get a leadoff double by the number 8 hitter that brings up the number 9 hitter. Perfect spot right here for a sacrifice bunt from Casey Kelly. I would think maybe Bruce Bochy has different plans given the fact that Kelly's a pretty good athlete and has actually been a position player in his minor league days.
He's 2 for 15, career batter in the major leagues. In on the corners, charging is Barnhart, and nice bunt. Moves Duggar to third base. And we'll go back to the top of the order, and Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen's played a lot of games at Great American Ballpark. And if you look at the list of most home runs at GABP by an opponent, he's in the top 4 with some good company. Ryan Braun leads everyone with 26. Lance Berkman, man, did he just kill the Reds for years. Some guy named Albert Pujols. And then McCutchen.
I think Barry, you may not have the entire list, Jim, but as I remember, Barry Bonds always did really well here. He just didn't get enough at bats in Cincinnati because he was always in a different division once they moved away from Pittsburgh, of course.
Yeah, the top 4 that I just mentioned all did it in the National League Central. Brown with the Brewers, Berkman with the Astros, who were then in the NL Central, as McCutchen ties up the game.
Well, they're going to need a lot of this from Andrew McCutchen if they're going to make a run here in the National League West. The Giants are come into this ball game and even 61 up, 61 down. And really what you need to do with 40 games left on their schedule, they basically need to win about 28 of those. Go 28-12, and they have a pretty good shot of being right in the playoff picture. And McCutchen is one of the main guys. He's done it in the past. The question is, does he have enough left in the tank? Same questions you ask of Buster Posey, Evan Longoria, Brandon Crawford.
Back-to-back base hits into center field. Alan Hansen with the line drive base hit. It's first and second, 1 out.
It looks like what the Giants have decided to do is to get aggressive early against DeSclafani. He's throwing a lot of fastballs early in the count, and he's throwing them for strikes. I mean, what DeSclafani's done so well over the last couple of starts is, in his words, fill up the strike zone, which is one strike after another after another. Well, if a hitter knows the first pitch fastball's coming, he's at the advantage.
Well, a tough batter to deal with here, Buster Posey. .333 batter with runners in scoring position this season. Let's get 1 in the bottom of the second. The Giants have answered with 1 here in the top of the third. One pitch. 2-1. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Well, DeSclafani's go-to pitch right here has been, at least over the last last 2 weeks has been very effective is that slider of his against right-handers. It goes down, it goes away from him. He's got great arm action on it. And he throws it almost 45% of the time against right-handed hitters.
Full count. Runners going, swing and a miss, throw down to second base. How about a strike him out, throw him out? DeSclafani, Casale tire the Giants in the third. This season, it's the Kroger meal deal. Check concession stands throughout the ballpark for the Kroger meal deal, which includes a hot dog, a bag of chips, 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, Blue Diamond almonds. Be sure you get your Kroger meal deal today. Tied up at 1. Giants get a run in the third, and the Reds will try to retake the lead here in the bottom half. 2, 3, and 4 to face Casey Kelly, Peraza, Jeanette, Suarez. Glad he could join us here on a Friday night from the Queen City. Los Rojos v. Los Gigantes. Peraza flied out to right his first time up. The Reds and Fox Sports Ohio would like to wish happy birthday to Gordon Bud Shearing. He is celebrating number 97 today. Bud was recruited to play for the Reds back in the 40s, but stayed to work on the farm because he could make more money at the time. And Peraza sends one into center field for a base hit. Gordon Bud Shearing, happy birthday. Hope you're having a blessed day.
And also a happy birthday, one day belated, to our good friend and stage manager right up here, our Fox Sports Ohio television booth, Jesse Jackson. So, Jesse, happy birthday to you, my man. I think you checked the Major League schedule first, or they checked with him to make sure that he had an off day.
He had an off, yeah. He was looking a little sluggish today. Might have been a little bit celebrating going on yesterday. You all right? You good? He's got a little more pep in his step now.
The Unreverend having a birthday.
So Peraza at first base, a leadoff base hit, and he's been a very good hitter when leading off an inning. Coming in 351 average. Peraza when leading off an inning and 143 plate appearances coming in.
He doesn't have to be warned down there by Freddie Benavides that Casey Kelly has some very quick move to first base. He's already picked off Billy Hamilton, and somewhat of a conservative lead, at least by Peraza standards down there. Look where Brandon Belt is, taking half that bag away already. You may be asking the question, well, is that legal? Can a first baseman block the base to keep the runner from coming in? And the answer is no, unless he's fielding a throw or has the ball. If he's got the ball, he can block the base. If he's fielding a throw, he can block the base. But he's giving a runner just enough to be able to get in there on the backside.
So if he's in the process of the baseball coming his way.
Correct. He can slip that foot back there and slip it right in front of the base.
Wonder why that's not done more often.
Probably because first basemen don't like to be thrown at.
Quick move again by Kelly.
Now, one thing that's going on down there that really doesn't meet the eye is that Freddie Benavides has got a stopwatch, and he's in charge of putting the current times together. That's very close.
Wow.
Of the pitcher's move to first base and the pitcher's move to the plate.
Longoria will get the out at first base with the speedy Peraza going to second. So a productive out for Jeanette. When you talk about that stopwatch, the throwing to the plate, if a pitcher's in the 2.0, 2.1 range.
That's the pop time. The pop time is the catcher's time from the time that the ball pops in his glove until he delivers it to second base and it pops in the fielder's glove. The move by a pitcher to a really fast move is about 1.15.
I said 2. That you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And pitchers that give up stolen bases are usually 1.6, 1.7 and above. A lot of numbers to memorize.
And you try to spit them out in the right way. I apparently said 2.1. Actually, while I'm down there in the dugout, I do a lot of timing as well, but it's the stopwatch on the phone, which I don't know is a little tougher to get accuracy as to the old school stopwatch that these guys have.
What do you want, on a limited cell plan or what?
No, it's kind of a digital button, as opposed to that old school stopwatch where it's got that button.
Oh, you don't mean your own phone calls, your timing.
That's about as long as people want to talk to me, about 1.1 seconds. Hi, goodbye. Go ahead run at second base. 2 balls and a strike to Suarez. First base open, and Kelly pitching very delicately to Suarez. Preston Tucker on deck. Check swing, appeal down to first, and no, says Dan Bellino. And the Reds have first and second. 1 out. First walk surrendered by Casey Kelly. As you enjoy a Miller Lite, look forward to the Hold True moment later in tonight's game. Second at bat for Preston Tucker. Wide out to right his first time up. In a short stint with the Reds, we have certainly seen Tucker with the ability to turn on a fastball. One ball and a strike. We talked about it earlier. Casey Kelly getting the emergency start, if you will. Derek Rodriguez put on the disabled list. He was supposed to be tonight's starter.
You know, we're not certain. We've tried to look it up. We can't determine for certain. But, you know, both the pitcher, Casey Kelly, and the hitter, Preston Tucker, 28 years old. Tucker is from Tampa, Florida, and Casey Kelly grew up in Sarasota, very close by, about an hour's drive. Got to figure somewhere along the lines. Summer ball, maybe high school, maybe exhibition ball somewhere that they probably have faced each other. And if not, I mean, if you're of the caliber that they are where they're drafted, you know, then you got to figure that at least they've heard of each other.
Oh, yeah. Making that trip over the, what is it, the Sunshine Skyway? Going from the St. Pete area, which is south of Tampa, towards Sarasota. 1-2 pitch, hammered into right field, but McCutchen has a beat on it. An Adam ball for the second out. And that'll bring up Tucker Barnhart. And when these guys hit, and we've talked about this before, back-to-back in the lineup, confuses people, especially on the scoreboard, who might be a layman fan, because they list last names in the starting lineup. And it's Tucker Barnhart. Tucker batting fifth. Preston Tucker. Tucker Barnhart batting sixth.
I would imagine that, of course, the players have to know where they're batting in the order, but
there it
also
is.
The bench coach has to stay on top of that, because we've already had a lineup snafu here at this ballpark earlier in the year when the New York Mets batted out of order.
Absolutely. A lot of confusion in the clubhouse as well. Every time someone says, "Hey, Tuck," they both turn around. No balls and 2 strikes. Red stranded 2 in the first, 1 in the second. Trying to avoid stranding 2 here in the third. Count holds at 1-2. McCutchen again, and the Reds indeed strand 2. We played 3, tied at 1 at GABP. And we've mentioned a Reds killer. 5 straight games he's gone yard against the Reds. And over those 5 games, a 400 average. And when the Reds are at AT&T Park earlier this season, he was putting a hurting on the Reds. Hit .462 in that series. Check out our IGS bringing the energy. Most home runs versus an opponent. 12 of them against the Reds. And 39 games. 14 against the Rockies, whom he plays a lot more in the NL West. And the Dodgers and the D-backs. You would expect those division opponents to be on that list, but this is a classic seeing eye single. Past Jeanette, past Peraza, leadoff single for Brandon Belt. Oh, he fights it off, and that'll bring up Evan Longoria. Longoria fouled out his first time up. DeSclafani in the driver's seat here. No balls and 2 strikes. Up high, 1-2. 43 pitches now for DeSclafani. Longoria, the former Tampa Bay Ray. Just off the outside edge, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Could be 2. And it is. 6-4-3. To cut down Belt and Longoria.
Now double plays now in back-to-back innings for Anthony DeSclafani. Last inning to end the inning, it was a strike him out, throw him out. And the old-fashioned DP lane ground ball to the shortstop here.
And the 2-out batter is Brandon Crawford.
He's had somewhat of a stress-free evening so far, DeSclafani, as compared to Casey Kelly, who has basically pitched out of trouble every inning.
One ball, 1 strike. DeSclafani faces the minimum, and inning number 4, middle of the 4th, we're tied at 1. brought to you by O'Charlie's, home of Free Pie Wednesdays. By your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, now ranked number 2 in the nation by U.S. News and World Report.
You ever put a quarter in one of those?
I have before.
You ever been able to see through it after you put your quarter in? The one here works.
The one here works, yes. I have. Let's see, where did I do that? In San Francisco, I did that. I think I've done that in the Berg.
Every time I put my quarter in one of those, it looks like it's just somebody's holding a sheet right in front of the viewer. It's like, oh, lost in the clouds.
Yeah, that is a very good point by our producer, Josh Hall. They cost 50 cents.
Well, no wonder.
So you got to up that quarter. You got to double down. Inflation.
Point well taken.
Counts 1 and 2 to Mason Williams. That's Crawford in the shift.
Pretty good communication right there between Panic, the second baseman, and Crawford. It would have been, you know, Mason Williams runs pretty well. So anytime you can defer to the fielder who is moving towards the base you want to throw to, that's what you do. Panic basically gets out of the way, even though he probably could have made that play.
And that'll bring up Kirk Casale, who owns the Reds' lone RBI in this game. As you look at the shortstop and second baseman for the Giants. Has got the run in the second. Double Barnhart, RBI single Casale. And Casale's got his average at 310. He's done a nice job since coming to the Reds.
You know, normally the backup catcher really doesn't get much playing time, doesn't get much face time on TV, doesn't get much headlines in the paper. So what you do is normally under the radar, but your teammates appreciate it, especially your pitchers. And when you come up with an occasional big hit like he has done that several times, I mean he's got the highest batting average of anybody in the starting lineup tonight.
And Jim Riggleman hinted that he might be playing first base some with Votto on the 10-day DL. Right through the box and into center field, base hit. He's 2 for 2.
You know what we have here tonight, though, with Casey Kelly on the mound and Buster Posey catching, is somewhat of an oddity in baseball terms, because they were both taken in the 2008 draft, both 28 years old. And Buster Posey was a first-round pick. He was taken 5th overall by the Giants. But Casey Kelly was also taken in the first round by the Boston Red Sox. So you just wonder how many times that's happened.
Yeah.
Where guys taken in the first round are pitching to each other as a battery.
Right.
Same year. About 20 picks or so separated. You know, the other subplot that's going on in this ballgame, and really throughout the entire series, is that Jim Riggleman is managing on the first base dugout the Reds, and Bruce Bochy over here on the third base dugout with the Giants. Well, when Bruce Bochy was first named manager, he took over for Jim Riggleman in San Diego. That was 24 years ago, and Bochy's was a very young guy at that time. In 1995, was that the year or so?
We're down to first. Second baseman Panic trying to come in to surprise Casale on the wheel play.
How many times do we see Brandon Phillips do this?
Oh, a ton.
The wheel play and the back pick. Some real baseball lingo right there.
That was well played. Sclafani having trouble in back-to-back at-bats, getting a sacrifice bunt down. square around with 2 strikes, and this time it goes foul. And down he goes. Two outs. And the batter's Billy Hamilton. The Giants in the midst of a 10-game road trip. And they're coming off of a series victory in Los Angeles. They took 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, excuse me. And overall, they've won 3 of their last 4.
"24 years as a major league manager." Interesting, really, exactly 12 years as manager of the Padres for Bochy, and 12 years as a manager of the Giants.
Hamilton slices one the other way with room just in fair territory. Is Hansen retire the Reds in inning number 4.
Bruce Bochy. Look at Welshie there. He struck out Bochy in the 1st and the 3rd innings, but Bochy got the better of him in the 5th inning. As he wraps out a 2 RBI double, the Padres go on to beat the Reds 9-5. It was the only 3 at-bats that Bochy had in his career versus Chris Welsh, and there they are.
1 for 3, he would have retired a .333 hitter had he faced me a lot more than that.
How about that? That is great video.
I've known Bruce for a long, long time. You know, we were teammates together back in San Diego before that particular matchup happened. And, you know, he was a backup catcher to Terry Kennedy. So, you know, he got to catch me a little bit. And I was able to listen to him speak last night. He came into town. The Giants came in kind of late last night. They spent the night after that long extra inning game in Los Angeles on Wednesday night. They flew it basically all day yesterday through really lousy weather to get here.
Base hit Joe Panic.
And then Bochy showed up at the Green Diamond Gallery last night, which is a tremendous place by Bob Crotty with all sorts of baseball memorabilia. It's kind of a club of people that join, and they bring in tremendous speakers. And he did a wonderful job last night, and it was very interesting to listen to Bruce Bochy, you know, who has managed now 24 years, 3-time World Series winning manager, 4 pennants with the 3 with the Giants, 1 with the San Diego Padres, and about what he looks for in a player and how to develop players and what he does as a manager to try to get the best out of his players. I thought it was one of the most fascinating talks by a manager that I've ever heard. But he has come a long, long way since striking out against me.
A wealth of knowledge is Bruce Bochy, and you as well.
In fact, he put out he's written a book. It came out, I think, last year. He said, boy, I was trying to rush the printing so that it would come out during one of the years in which they won the World Series.
Right.
Instead of the terrible year that the Giants had last year when they lost 98 games. But called Bochy Ball. And looking forward to reading that. Really,
it's a very good read.
Interesting man.
Well, we've come full circle. You know who hit a home run in that game that we just showed? Buddy Bell hit a home run in that game.
All right. I probably needed more than just Buddy hitting home runs in that game.
And Buddy Bell in the yard tonight. So the three of you, all these years later, have reconvened. You were looking good in that Reds uniform, by the way. What was the hardest part? I mean, obviously you're playing for your hometown team, which was a dream, but you had to shave off the stash. Check him out.
I actually had to shave off my mustache 3 times now for the Reds. And I'm dead serious about that. The first time was when I was going batting practice to the Big Red Machine in 1975.
They made you shave your third strikeout for DeSclafani.
Really good pitch on the corner right there to the same guy that hit him for a double his last time up. So a key strikeout here, even though it's the number 8 hitter. So I met Chief Bender, who was the head of player personnel for the Reds, while down in Tampa at a Tampa Tarpons game. Mentioned I was from Cincinnati. He invited me to come up and throw batting practice to the Reds, which I did.
Wow.
But I had a mustache. And George Scherger, the bench coach for Sparky Anderson, told me after I had my uniform on.
Goes the runner. Double clutching is Casale, and no chance.
Yeah, couldn't get that ball out of his glove.
And I don't know if that was miscommunication or not, but Jeanette and Peraza came together, both covering the bag.
Well, we've seen instances where neither of them have covered before, and you can see Casale just can't get the handle, so it really didn't matter.
Well, that could have been a lot worse. Broken bat and foul ball. So in 1975, how old were you? 12?
Well, no, yeah, I wish. But I was a sophomore in college, and I came up invited to, and I had a Reds uniform on. I was getting ready to take the field to throw batting practice to the Big Red Machine.
Wow.
And George Scherger stopped me on the way out, and he said, son, you can't go out there with a mustache.
Really?
Not in a Reds uniform. I said, well, show me the razor. And I went right in there in full uniform and shaved my mustache off. And then, of course, when I came back and played for the Reds in 1986, I knew that there was no facial hair policy, so I shaved it for that. And then my first year as a broadcaster, Jim Bowden somehow convinced me that Marge Schott did not want the broadcasters to have any facial hair just the way the players were. And I really didn't believe him deep inside, but I shaved it anyway, just to make sure. So those are the 3 times.
Wow. How about as a sophomore in college, throwing batting practice to the Big Red Machine? That's outstanding. How many bombs did they hit off of?
Actually, what I remember more is that with first pitch I threw, I hit Johnny Bench in the ribs.
What?
And he proceeded to throw the bat at the L screen. And nobody else wanted to get in the cage. That was a wild left-hander.
Hold on a second. You hit Johnny Bench in the ribs first pitch?
So it could have been in the wallet. I don't know. But
that should be a chapter in your book.
And but Pete Rose jumped in the batting cage and said, hey, I'll hit you. Show me what you got.
Really?
So he was basically hit for the entire round while all the other players stood around and watched.
And probably just peppered you with base hits.
Well,
even though there's.
He always wanted the competition.
Yeah. That's a great story. The price of a mustache to throw BP to the Big Red Machine.
I was growing it back the next day.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Andrew McCutcheon. Check swing. DeSclafani has to hurry and makes the play.
Good play.
1-1 game. Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at RBI.com. Rated E for everyone. Chris Welsh and Jeff McCorrell. Jim Day back at Great American Ballpark. Shannon Ford along the way as well. We're tied at 1. Reds and Giants. Peraza, Jeanette, Suarez here in the home half of the 5th. Base hit, Jose Peraza. Second hit of the night for Jose. He's now hit safely in 12 of his last 14 games.
Well, it's interesting how some teams really do the shift and some teams just don't buy into it at all. And we've talked about Peraza and the outfield shift, which really never happens on him. But yeah, that's his second base hit up the middle.
We talked his last time up about his prowess of leading off an inning, and here he does it again. And now, Scooter Gennett, who steps in with a .306 batting average. 1 for 2 here tonight. And trying to get back into form prior to the All-Star break. Coming into tonight's play, Scooter, .225 average since the All-Star break. He went into the break leading the National League in hitting. Came into the game tonight 6th best in the league. And you know you're having a good season when you say the average down to .306.
You're right.
Peraza inching out. 18 steals and 23 attempts. There goes Jose. Throw down from Posey, and they got him. And Jose immediately signals to the dugout to perhaps take a look at this one.
Well, he's not leaving the bag. That's how convinced he is that he's safe.
That's a good look. He might have missed him.
I mean, did he happen to graze the top of his leg as he went in there is the question. They'll answer that question in New York. Remember, the laces are not part of the glove. So if he slides that glove across the runner's leg and the lace of it hits, we're not talking about that being a real tag.
So the second base umpire, Phil Cuzzy, who made the call. Crew chief Tom Hallion, screen right, on the horn to New York. And that was a very interesting rule, something that I learned in the rules from you, by the way, about the laces. BaseballRulesAcademy.com.
I actually did a rule of the week on that about a month and a half or so ago about whether the laces are actually part of the glove, and a lot of people think it is, but it is not. I mean, for instance, if you get hit by a pitch on your uniform, then maybe a big baggy uniform, that is part of your body, and that would be a hit by pitch, but the laces are not considered that for the purpose of tagging somebody out.
The decision is in, and he's out. Wow. And officially, the call is confirmed.
He must have had some contact right there at the glove, and right about there. And you can see how close Cuzzy is to that the play.
So the call confirmed, which means they had evidence on video that he was out. So one out in the inning and a 2-0 count to Scooter Gennett. Two and two. Casey Kelly, just the 9th different starting pitcher used, or 10th different starting pitcher used for the Giants this season.
And I said he had 2 days off. He's only had 1 day off, I believe, right? Didn't he pitch he had 2 days off. He pitched 8 extra innings the other night. An inning and a third. But this is a true emergency start.
Base hit.
Well, they're peppering him right back up the middle. Suarez had a base hit up the middle in his first at bat, first inning. Peraza's hit 2 up the middle for a base hit. Casale's had a base hit up the middle, and now Gennett goes up the middle.
And that might be it for Casey Kelly. Here comes Bruce Bochy, sombering out to the mound. And he will take the baseball. Reyes Moranta has been warming up for the Giants. As the Giants have made the call. control for him. 9 hits by the Reds off of Kelly. Reyes Moranta in for the Giants.
Really have to admire the way that Casey Kelly hung right in there. I
Yeah.
mean, these hits that he gave up tonight weren't exactly busting the walls down. They were little ground balls that just found the holes, and he keeps his team in the ball game, and kind of an emergency start leaves the ball game with 1 out and 1 on.
8 of the 9 hits by the Reds were singles. So they were just kind of peppering him.
And the one that wasn't was an opposite field double.
Right. Fooled Suarez badly.
Whereas Moranta's got a good arm. Power fastball, power slider. Signed by the Giants when he was 18 years old. He's now 25. Spent 7 full seasons in the minor leagues.
And now he'll do battle with Preston Tucker. Santiago, Dominican Republic is where Reyes Moranta hails from.
I mean, his hits per inning. He's pitched 54 innings. He's only given up 26 hits. In fact, he's given up more walks than he has given up hits. Preston Tucker spitting on the slider, waiting for the fastball.
Two-0.
I mean, how geared must you be on that fastball when you get a guy who's throwing mid-90s and you pull it foul almost into your own dugout?
Strike called at 96.
You know, what I like to watch when Posey catches is his eyes. I mean, he's checking out the hitter, he's checking out the runner.
Delivers a low target and chopping it foul is Tucker.
See if we can get a shot of him kind of doing that, because you know, catchers are always looking at the hitter's feet, and they're always looking at the hitter's head too, to make sure that you know you don't get a sneak peek at where I'm setting up or what kind of sign I'm calling for.
Swing and a miss. Moranta comes in and gets the job done. Back-to-back strikeouts.
in were Reds super fans. They were out on the field taking grounders and BP with the Reds coaching staff, and then they joined myself, Brian Giesenslag, and Jeff Pecoro right here on the set, asking us about all things Reds. The most asked question, though, was, are these lights always this bright? Yes, yes, they are. And now you know why Jeff Pecoro is so tan. Guys, back up to you.
Hey, you're on camera. There we go. So I didn't know. See, here's a problem, though. I've been under those lights many times, and I'm about as pale as you can get. But for some reason, you know, Pick is one of those guys that in mid-January, it'll be a sunny day. He'll go out in about two minutes. He'll be in midsummer form. A year-round take. I'm envious, of course.
Well, if you're going to announce SEC football, you need a tan.
That's true. I've survived on TV all these years with, I mean, look at me. Look what I got to work with. Buster Posey 0 for 1 here tonight in a walk. Struck out swinging his last time up. Reds have had their chances tonight. 9 hits, and they have stranded at least 1 runner in every inning tonight, and stranded 2 in the first and 2 in the third. Peraza, easy play. Posey. And that'll bring up Brandon Belt. And last time up, it was a single as we check out our StatCast A1 powered by AWS AI, excuse me. Had him played in the vicinity where he hits it. I think I have steak on the brain. I went A1 there. StatCast AI powered by AWS. When don't I have food on the brain? And another shift employed is that rain falling? It indeed is. There you see Peraza, Jeanette, Barnhart, 3 defenders on the right-hand side. If you're just joining us, indeed, that is Tucker Barnhart at first base. Making his first career start at first base. Joey Votto went on the 10-day disabled list earlier today and hit right at Barnhart, his first ground ball, and as he said, knock it down, keep it in front of him, and he did. An 8-pitch inning for DeSclafani. chance to show off their trivia knowledge and win some cash on an all-new beer money presented by El Dorado Scioto Downs tonight, right after Reds Live here on Fox Sports Ohio. Broken bat, floater. Crawford has it 1 out. Rain coming down. It's working on the radar. It's not a huge cell, so we're hoping that this is just a light rain that's going to move out of the area. Fingers crossed on that. We've had enough rain over the last couple days here in the Queen City. Yesterday was incredible. Not going to put a damper on that cone, though. There's Mason Williams. Just inside. Four-pitch walk to Mason Williams. If a Reds home run hits the Toyota sign during tonight's game, Darryl Collette from Independence, Kentucky is going to win the beautiful new Tundra on display here at GABP, thanks to your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. The batter is Kurt Casale. Congratulations to the Wheelersburg Little League World Series softball champs.
Yeah, we've talked about them for the last couple of nights. That team that went out to Portland, Oregon, and they ended up winning it the other night. And boy, what a huge event that is for all the folks down there in Wheelersburg, Portsmouth area. Congratulations, ladies. And you know, it happened just about a year to the day.
Yes.
That we lost Gene Bennett.
On a field named after him,
yeah.
Was it not?
Indeed.
That they won it?
Well, no, they won it in Portland, Oregon. But,
that's where they're.
but their home field
gotcha.
is right there
yeah.
in the Gene Bennett complex, I believe.
Longoria running throw. Retires Casale. No one covering third, but Mason Williams didn't see it.
Yeah, Longoria has had that play a couple of times now where he had maybe a chance at second base, but he's always opted for the sure out. And especially when the sure out is the second out and you've got the pitcher coming up. Smart play. Had a really nice career, Evan Longoria. You can just about pencil him in at the beginning of every year to play almost every day. I mean, he'll play 155 games a year, Longoria will.
DeSclafani will try to help himself here. 2 outs and the go-ahead run at second base. Season average of 200 for DeSclafani, including Grand Salami.
So he's right there on the Mendoza line right now.
Yeah.
Pressure at bat. Not to mention you go ahead and run at second base.
And he gives in to the pressure. Aranta's done a nice job.
in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
All right, let's check out our National League Central standings. The Cubs 70-50, 20 games over 500. They lead the Milwaukee Brewers by 3.5 games. The Cardinals are catching them. They're just 5 back after winning 8 of their last 9 games. It's time now for Built for Baseball, which is brought to you by T-Mobile. Milwaukee is at St. Louis. Huge series at Busch, and bottom of the first, it's Marcell Ozuna with a 2 RBI single to give the Cardinals a 2-0 lead. We're going to the top of the third. It is 2-0. St. Louis leads it. Jim?
Cardinals have been on fire in a big way. Pirates have cooled off a bit. And it's raining in Pittsburgh. The Cubs and Pirates are delayed. Or now, yeah, they're still delayed. Still a light rain here. Very light at the moment. 7th inning of work for Anthony DeSclafani. He has gone 7 complete in his last 2 starts. And so far, another dandy here tonight. Two balls and 2 strikes to Evan Longoria. 2 starts ago, 7 innings, 1-run baseball at Washington. And last time out Friday against the Diamondbacks, D-backs, Bally. 7 innings, scoreless baseball. This play by Peraza, and how about Barnhart with a pick on the other end? Well, so far, Barnhart has passed the test.
Sooner or later, you're going to have a chance, or you're going to need to do this. Scoop the ball out of the ground, and Barnhart has kind of an easy one right there. The short hop is able to pick it clean. Nice going.
Barnhart 10 for 10 on his chances in this game defensively.
Not that we're counting.
Not that we're counting. I wasn't counting. It's Joe Luckup. The man that attempts to make me sound smarter than I am.
Well, he handled 3 in the first inning. He had a chance to set a record.
Which is shared by how many? Charging is Jeanette.
Boy, is DeSclafani just having an easy job tonight. I mean, he is just mowing right through this giant lineup, one after another.
And the pitch count at 79, 2 outs into the 7th. And the batter's Joe Panic, and a first pitch strike, painting the outside corner. A 1. How about DeSclafani? At least 7 innings and 3 straight starts, and he's not done. Middle of the 7th. Reds need some runs for him. thanks to Klosterman Bakery, you can get half-price Reds tickets, enjoy live mascot races, face painters, and more. Plus, kids 14 and younger are going to get a Jesse Winker Fathead, thanks to Tempstar. Tempstar! For tickets, visit Reds.com. A little nacho action here on a Friday night. I don't know if the crew is doing this to punish me or what.
You mean they don't deliver those down to the post-game set?
They do not. They don't deliver them anywhere in my vicinity. Although I have signed one of those helmets, and it was obvious that there were nachos in them when they handed it to me. Not cool. But you got to oblige whenever someone wants me to depreciate the value of whatever they're having me sign. Billy Hamilton, top of the order for the Reds. Indeed, he is leading off here tonight. And the new pitcher is Mark Melanson.
Yeah, the former closer and a very good one, joined the Giants last year, and they thought that he would really help them overcome their bullpen woes. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. He ended up getting injured, only pitching 32 games for the Giants last year. In fact, he just came off the disabled list back in early June from off-season elbow surgery.
Hamilton 1 for 3 here tonight. He singled in the first to run his hitting streak to 9 games. And over the last 50 games played, including tonight, Billy is a .301 batter. And the on-base percentage at .344.
That's the Melanson calling card right there. He's got a nice little cut fastball. Never really an overpowering closer. You know, normally when you're a closer, you think you either have an overpowering fastball or you have a trick pitch of some kind. But for Melanson, it's that big overhand curveball that gets the job done.
He's ahead 1-2 on Hamilton, who has raised his average 50 points. Not this time. The last 50 from 187 to 237 before that at bat.
That's the cutter right there. You can see that kind of spin on it. It's almost like a football spiral.
Sixth Red to strike out here tonight. And the batter's Jose Peraza. Has singled his last 2 times up, has Jose. A 1-1 showing bunt, getting it down, but bunts it right at Melanson. 2 outs. And now a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky.
The 2-out batter, Scooter Jeanette. Scooter 2 for 3, couple of singles. If Melanson can retire Jeanette, this would be the first 1-2-3 inning of the night for Giants pitching, as the Reds have stranded at least 1 runner in every inning. 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 3 in the third, and a runner each in innings 4, 5, and 6. They've certainly had their chances. But at the same time, you look down and only a couple of runners have reached second base. Jeanette slices one the other way, and that'll fall. Scooter on his way to second base with his 25th double of the season.
Well, 3 hits on the night now for Scooter. A couple of singles, 1 up the middle, 1 over into right field, and this one very much like the double that Tucker Barnhart hit. slicing off of his bat, going down the left field line, and with 2 outs now, the Reds have a runner in scoring position for Suarez.
And that'll bring up Eugenio Suarez, who has been sitting on 68 RBIs here for a moment. 88 RBIs, my bad.
Back the last run batted in he had was on August the 10th.
Yeah.
Before that, he had a couple on August the 6th.
Right. It was
So
a
it's been a very meager month so far compared to, anyway, his standards.
Yeah. It was a sacrifice fly RBI back on the 10th. As him and Javier Baez have been going back and forth, and both have been sitting at 89 for Baez, 88 for Suarez for a few days now. Number 89 for Suarez would look sweet right here. It would mean a Reds lead. The 1-1. 2 balls and a strike.
What you're seeing out of Suarez this year is a real improved idea of the strike zone. I mean, his walk rate has just skyrocketed this year. His strikeout rate has plummeted. So the combination of that makes him much more difficult to get out. A little bit of a mini slump going through right here, although he has a base hit tonight. Struck out 5 times on Wednesday.
Ground ball. Crawford has it. The Reds strand another. Through 7, 1-1 game. Summary. Casey Kelly starting while Pops, Pat Kelly, bench coach for the Reds, looks on. Father and son would watch the son give up an RBI to Kirk Casale in the bottom of the second after Tucker Barnhart had doubled. And then Andrew McCutchen bites the Reds again. RBI single in the third, ties the game up at 1. And Anthony DeSclafani, 7 innings of pitching, 5 hits, just 1 run so far, and he is still on the hill.
His is how he's gotten the outs is really interesting. It's a throwback to a guy that, you know, has always kind of been his calling card, down in the zone, get ground balls. But tonight, never more evident than that. 13 ground ball outs for DeSclafani, 4 strikeouts, a couple of pop-ups in the infield, and only 1 out made in the outfield.
Here is a ball into right field, and Mason Williams will run down. Went a long way, did Mason Williams. Now 7 1/3 for DeSclafani. The last Reds pitcher to throw at least 7 innings in 3 straight starts. That guy, Anthony DeSclafani. End of August, early September in 2016.
Now that's why the Reds have been waiting for him to get healthy and be back with a lot of hope. Hunter Pence coming in as a pinch hitter.
And every time Hunter Pence steps into the box here at Great American Ballpark, some people just shiver. It was that 2012 season, which the Reds, over that run of 3 out of 4 years in the playoffs, 2012 was the best team and their best chance.
Well, they were much better on paper than the Giants.
Yeah.
They had that 2-game lead. They came back here, and Bruce Bochy knew he had to say something to his team. So he got them together after a day off where they got to work out here at Great American Ballpark.
Broken bat, one hopper that Jeanette fights off and retires Hunter Pence.
And he actually began to tell a story, a biblical story, of how much outnumbered a group of men were able to overcome the odds and win. And he wanted to get his team fired up. And in the middle of the story, Hunter Pence stood up and said, "Do you mind if I say something?" And Hunter Pence, who had just joined the team earlier that year, a lot of guys didn't even get to know him that well, basically just took over. And for the next 10 minutes gave a kind of speech that by the end, his teammates are ready to run through the wall to get through the field.
Yeah.
And it was a miraculous run of against all odds for the Giants that year. And the first against all odds victories they had, of course, is winning 3 straight here against Dusty Baker's crew, as they just stunned the Reds and Reds fans with that 3-game sweep. First time all year long the Reds have lost 3 in a row at home.
Boy, they were flying high after taking those first 2 out in San Francisco. And then 3 straight. And there are so many plays in those 3 games that you can look back on. In fact, let's stop talking about it, shall we? But tip your cap to the Giants. They got the job done and went on to win the World Championship. McCutchen, the only RBI tonight for the Giants, and the only run DeSclafani has given up. Past Suarez, and that'll be a base hit. That ball was smoked.
Got a second hit on the night, and this one really hit hard. 2 outs. Single shouldn't harm DeSclafani.
And here comes Jim Riggleman. This is a jog out, and normally this is a strategy talk when he jogs out there.
You know, that's what Sparky Anderson used to do. You always knew when Sparky came to the mound and a little bit of a jog, Captain Hook wasn't ready to remove the pitcher.
Right.
But if he came walking out real slow,
yeah, and he would come out and he would do the he would do the actual hook. Following each and every Reds game here on Fox Sports Ohio. Stick around. Reds Live, the post-game edition, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda for a complete recap and interviews from the locker room from the famed Fox Sports Ohio condominium. Condo. Swing and a miss by Hansen. McCutcheon not the base stealing threat that he was in the past. 9 steals. He's been caught stealing 6 times. There he goes, though. And it bounces away from Casale. Head first slide by McCutcheon. Had he looked back, he might be on third base.
Well, really all McCutcheon saw was Peraza coming over to the bag and stationing himself like he was going to, take a throw. So he goes head first, and fortunately he doesn't get to third.
And now a big at bat here by Hansen. 1-1 game. Go ahead run at second base. 95 pitches for DeSclafani. 2-1.
But he's still throwing effortlessly out there. I mean, DeSclafani's now pitched enough this year to kind of get his sea legs under him, his timing down. He's not grunting and groaning on every delivery, not trying to throw the ball overpowering, just trying to hit those corners with a little bit of movement.
2-1 pitch. Strike call, paints the inside corner. Count will hold it 2-2. Full count. Payoff pitch. Gets away from Casale. And that is a bad break for DeSclafani.
Boy, he gets strike 3 right there. He even kind of pumps his fist, but at that point, he doesn't realize the ball has gone through the wickets. And the second trip in this inning to the mound. And there's the hook.
A strikeout and a wild pitch. Riggleman will come out. And charging in is Jared Hughes. Francisco Lindor. And the AL Central leading Indians up at Progressive Field in Cleveland. Coverage begins at 3 Eastern on FS1, or you can stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Quite the situation here. DeSclafani, after 7 2/3 innings of strong baseball, longest outing since August of 2016, and he is hoping for Jared Hughes to get him out of this inning. First and third, 2 outs, and the 3-batter Buster Posey at the plate. Hughes has been all kinds of good this season. Sally keeps it in front of him this time, and McCutcheon 90 feet away perhaps saves the go-ahead run.
A rare slider for Hughes. I should say it's rare if it's over the strike zone. He'll throw him, but he usually teases batters with it. That bread and butter is that sinking fastball, and he gets a lot of easy ground ball outs with that.
The 1-1 should be out number 3, and it is. Jared Hughes, the ground ball machine, induces one, and the Giants strand 2. Features Tech Talk, Tom's Tidbits, and more right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Another night game here tomorrow night. Matt Harvey, tough assignment. Madison Bumgarner with 2.71 ERA.
Now, the good news for him is that he's pitching against the Giants offense that doesn't do a whole lot. But remember, Madison Bumgarner can swing the bat.
Sure can.
He may be one of the better hitting pitchers in baseball in a long time.
New pitcher for the Giants is Tony Watson, the lefty, and Jim Riggleman will counter. He'll take Preston Tucker out of this game. Phillip Ervin at the plate. Belt will race over for out number 1. And that'll bring up Tucker Barnhart. Tucker will bat from the right-hand side first time tonight. Doubled his first time up and scored the only Reds run. Kurt Casale drove him in. And that second inning double runs his hit streak to a modest 4 games. Longoria, running throw, 2 outs. Two-out batter is Mason Williams. Oh, and 1. Longoria again. This time he'll have to hurry. Safe. Pulled him off the bag, did the throw.
And Brandon Belt immediately points into the dugout. Of course, it's so natural nowadays. Anytime you have a close play, the first thing the manager does is put up his hand. And if he is on the bag, it looked like he may have caught his toe on the bag, he's going to be out. They're going to review it.
Yeah, sure did look like he was still on the bag. Watch the tip of his foot go straight down when he reaches the edge of the bag. Right there.
Take too long.
If he's out, it's only a 6-pitch inning for Tony Watson. And he's out. And it is just a 6-pitch inning. Off to the ninth. Still tied. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Ram, it's the no comparison event at your Ram dealer. Don't miss the great deals on Ram today. Phillip Ervin stays in the game. After hitting in the 8th, he's in left field. Brandon Dixon enters the game in right. He's in the 9 spot. He'll be due up second in the bottom of the 9th. New pitcher, Raisel Iglesias.
Been a while since the Reds have been in this kind of a ball game where we see Iglesias in here in the The top of the 9th inning, tie ball game. Not much offense really going on at all, although the Reds do have 10 hits. Almost all of them little singles that are either bounces through the middle or just over the infielders' heads.
First pitch to Brandon Belt is ball 1. Belt, Longoria, Crawford here in the 9th.
Yeah, and if the Giants have a part of the order that is a home run threat, it would be this. Posey, not so much anymore. He's only got 5 bombs on the year. Longoria, yes. Belt, definitely. And Brandon Crawford. Belt and Crawford, left-handers.
The 1-1. 2-1. The pitch. Swung right over top of it. 2-2.
Took a little bit off. That's the, you know, the arsenal that Raisel Iglesias has is so good. It can get left-handers out, right-handers out. He's got 3 or 4 pitches for, doesn't matter how you come to the plate.
Swing and a miss. Ate him alive. Here's Evan Longoria. 0 for 3 here tonight. Threw it right by him. A little giddy up on that one, 97.
It's a little go in the arc swing right there, and sometimes the bigger you swing, the slower you are doing it.
Two and two. Double barreled action in the Giants pen. Will Smith, Sam Dyson warming up. Lefty righty looking ahead to the 9th for the Reds. Casale, Dixon, Hamilton. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back punch outs for Raisel.
Boy, is Iglesias just right on top of his changeup tonight.
And Kirk Casale's going to take a stroll to the mound.
I'm not sure what's going on. They're going to call a trainer out, I think. He was wincing maybe after that. It was kind of odd body language. I thought at first he was just checking the outfield configuration.
Yeah.
But he seems got his thumb right there on his back, and he's testing something, and it doesn't look like that's a good sign, although you'd never tell from the results of the first 2 batters.
A big meeting on the mound. Jim Riggleman is out there. The entire infield is out there. Assistant athletic trainer Tomas Vera out to check on Iglesias. And home plate umpire Ryan Blakeney. We're going to have him throw a few testers here. Still looks uncomfortable even just standing there. Comes up. It's going to stay in.
Well, it may mean, I mean, he could probably get through this inning, but it may mean more to the Reds and Jim Riggleman, you know, going forward the next couple of days than it does tonight.
Yeah.
You manage your bullpen completely differently when you know that your main guy at the very end is not available.
First pitch to Brandon Crawford is chopped to the right side. Barnhart fields it, and a 1-2-3 ninth for Iglesias. Reds can win it in the bottom half. Are going to get a Scott Schebler bobblehead presented by PNC Bank. You can see the Reds take on these Giants for as low as $12. For tickets, visit Reds.com. The Reds looking for a dramatic ending here in a pitcher's duel, although 16 hits between both of these clubs, but only 1 run apiece. And the Reds will try their luck off of righty Sam Dyson.
Now, has he ever turned it around from last year? That 2.89 earned run average is about a third of what it was last year when he pitched for and the Giants.
Casale, Dixon, Hamilton here in the ninth.
Been around Miami. He's been in Toronto where he broke into the major leagues at age 24. His second stint now with the Giants.
Ball 1. Casale 2 for 3 here tonight. Has driven in the only Reds run. He has faced Dyson 1 time in his career, 1 for 1.
Dyson at one time was a closer. That was just a couple of years ago when he was with the Texas Rangers. Saved 30.
1-1 pitch.
Got some action on that fastball.
Sure does.
Kind of a low arm angle right there. You can see that backward spin and good backup and sink.
Had so much action on it that Posey had a hard time catching it. Setting up outside is Posey. Put it right there, but Casale lays off. 2-2. Full count.
If you see Posey give a sign where he puts his index finger down and then kind of moves it around like he's stirring a drink, that's a universal sign for a two-seam fastball. Give me the sinker right there. There it is.
Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss.
I guess, you know, if you look at Dyson, he's the Giants version of Jared Hughes. Not overpowering, averages about, 92, 93 miles with the fastball, but an extreme ground ball pitcher.
Brandon Dixon will take his first at-bat of the game. Average just at 176 for Dixon. He'll have a couple of home runs, 4 RBIs. Dyson in the driver's seat here. No balls and 2 strikes. One and 2. Back-to-back punch-outs here for Dyson. Dixon just overmatched in that at-bat. And here's Billy Hamilton. Per usual, third baseman Longoria in on the grass at third. Against the speedy Hamilton. In the air, right field. Getting well, but not well enough. And we will go to the 10th. Tied at 1. top of the 10th. In a 1-1 struggle. It's about hit the Giants, but the only con that matters on the left, tied at 1. Giants are 9-6 in extra inning games this season. Reds 5-7. This is the 16th extra inning game for the Giants. That is most in baseball. Iglesias still on the hill. Joe Panic at the plate. And a leadoff base hit. And the batter, Stephen Duggar.
Let's see if Bruce Bochy's going to play it the old-fashioned way right here and have Duggar bunt. Duggar's like an old-fashioned, good old-fashioned baseball player. Good defender, good base runner.
Not showing bunt on pitch number 1. Bam Bam right there. Hensley Mullins.
He's been mentioned a lot for being on the short list of some managerial jobs.
Yeah. I mean, when you're the bench coach for Bruce Bochy, you want to get into that experience, that mind, if you will. Bochy rubbing off on whomever.
And the other guy who's been mentioned a lot is their third base coach, who was their bench coach a few years ago, and that would be Ron Wotus.
Yeah.
Wotus taking over that spot vacated by the Flan man, Tim Flannery.
Your guy. Dixon got a nice jump on that ball.
Actually, one of the harder hit balls of the night by either team. That ball sounded great coming off the bat. Dixon wasn't fooled at all as a sinking line drive he came in and grabbed. Two batters against Iglesias this inning, two line drives.
And now he'll deal with a pinch hitter in Gorkis Hernandez. First pitch to Hernandez is a breaking ball in for a strike. Iglesias just the third pitcher of the night for the Reds and here in the 10th inning. DeSclafani, if you're just joining us, 7 2/3 of one-run baseball. Hughes just a third of an inning, and now Iglesias in his second inning of work. Oh, and 2. Could be 2, 5, 4, 3. It's a double play. But we're going to hold it here because immediately signaling back to the dugouts was Hernandez. And he's got a good case.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dan Molino having a rough night down there at first base.
Sure is.
He had one overturned earlier that didn't take but about 10 seconds on the replay, and this one is clearly wrong, and he had a good line of it too. Look at him down on his knee. That's the old-fashioned way that umpires make a call right there. I don't know whether he was just shielded out by something or, you know, nowadays it's gotten to the point with the instant replay that the fans basically, they just want the call made right. Yeah. Everybody wants to get the call right. But if you're an umpire, you're being judged on every one of these, especially these quickies. And that's the second time he's received a public spanking.
But you can't give him a timeout. He's got to go back to first base. Continue umpiring. And we'll go to the top of the order here, and Andrew McCutcheon.
Well, these replays certainly aren't taking long. That's the way they were designed in the first place.
Yeah. As you saw, 2 for 4 here tonight so far is McCutcheon. And the only RBI for the Giants tonight.
Danger right here when you get behind McCutcheon. He's hit the ball hard twice. Especially his last time, a line drive to left field. Oh boy, what was that? Is what Iglesias wants to know.
.30 pitch into right center field. Hamilton will cut it off, but on his way to third base is Hernandez, and the go-ahead run 90 feet away.
Boy, Hamilton does such a solid job of getting the ball right back into the infield, like right now. McCutcheon looking away, figuring that Iglesias is going to go safe on him and stay away from his power. But Hamilton just gets it and plays it like a shortstop.
Yep.
Get it back in the infield here, and then you make a decision.
Here's another jog out by Riggleman. The whole infield will converge here. 23 pitches for Iglesias. And now an inning and 2/3 of work. Now we'll see how Riggleman handles this bullpen going forward here in an extra inning game. Said before the game he'd Cody Reed outside an emergency unavailable, went 3 2/3 innings on Wednesday. Would like to avoid Lorenzen, although he's going to have to go to Lorenzen at some point, I would imagine. Lorenzen wants to pitch every day. He goes into the office and said, I'm good to go. In fact, he's warming up right now. The business at hand is Allen Hansen. 1st and 3rd, 2 outs. No balls and 2 strikes. struck him out. Iglesias strands 2. Reds will try to win it in the bottom of the 10th.
Bottom of the 10th inning. New pitcher for the Giants is a right-hander, and he is the 5th pitcher of the night. Make it the 6th pitcher of the night for Bruce Bochy and the Giants, Ray Black. Only the 14th game for Black. 28-year-old, drafted and came through their system.
He will get 2, 3, and 4 for the Reds here in the bottom of the 10th. Peraza, Jeanette, Suarez. Peraza, a couple hits tonight, a couple of singles back in the 3rd and the 5th. Tried to bunt his way aboard last time up, but bunted it right back to the pitcher. Fastball at 97 right down the middle. Threw it right by him at 99.
If I'm not mistaken, Black has pitched 10 games in Double-A. He's also done a lot of time in Triple-A this year, just recently recalled, but he is on some kind of a roll right now.
Whoa. That was good morning, good afternoon, and good night.
Nothing fancy. I say on a roll. He was on a roll until he gave up a couple of runs against the Dodgers on a couple of days ago. At least you know what's coming with Ray Black out there.
Yeah. And a good night for Jeanette. 3 for 4, a couple of singles and a double. And Scooter questioning that call right at the top of the zone.
Scooter has shown himself to be able to catch up to some pretty good heat.
Oh, yeah. Jams him there.
Drops a slider on him.
The 0-2. 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Strikeout Peraza, strikeout Jeanette. Watch Scooter here. Not good to see it, but he tried to take it out of the glove of Posey. Here's Suarez. Pretty good look at that one. One ball, one strike to the Red third baseman. That'll get your attention. 97 up and in. Two-one to Suarez. 2-2. Full count. Payoff pitch. Check swing, and he went. Black comes in and strikes out the side in impressive fashion. 11th inning, here we come. Of extra innings. 11th inning about to ensue here. 1-1 game, Reds and Giants, first of 3 in a weekend set. Glad he can hang out with us here on a Friday night. With Chris Welsh, I'm Jim Day.
Well, there'll be fireworks after this ball game, I believe. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
There have not been much in the way of offensive fireworks so far tonight.
There have not been.
David Hernandez would like to keep it just like that here as he fishes the top of the 11th. 41 games now for Hernandez, a sub-2 earned run average. What a sign he has been for this Reds ball club.
Solid. He'll get the meat of the order, though, for the Giants. Posey, Belt, Longoria. And he has faced Posey a boatload of times, 14 times in his career. Posey 2 for 14. It's a 143 clip, and he does have a home run. He's fallen behind 3 balls and no strikes. Three and one. Three-one pitch. Hammered into left center field. Hamilton! Billy does it again. Not many can go get him like Billy Hamilton.
You don't pick your spots for good defense. Hamilton seems to get them all, but if he was going to pick a spot, this would be a perfect time to make a diving grab on a ball evidently knuckling off the bat of Buster Posey in the left center field gap.
A little slip and slide action at the end. Hernandez says, thank you very much. One and one the count to Brandon Belt. Two and one. That will drift out of play or falls in foul ground. Full count. Payoff pitch to Belt, swing and a miss. 2 outs.
Howard and back-to-back strikeouts in this game for Brandon Belt. Just could not catch up with the Hernandez fastball.
And that'll bring up Evan Longoria. Phillip Urban, Tucker Barnhart, Mason Williams due up for the Reds in the bottom of the 11th. Popped up, but back and out of play. Check that on who's due up in the bottom of the 11th. It'll be Irvin Barnhart, pitcher's spot. Jim Riggleman has Herrera and Aquino on his bench, unless he were to opt for someone like Michael Lorenzen to pinch hit and perhaps pitch. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Hernandez. Ballpark. Reds and Giants locked up in a good one, as they say. Ray Black, the fireballer, still on the mound for the Giants. We'll get Phillip Ervin here to start the 11th. Ervin entered the game, batted in the 8th, grounded out. Took a big cut.
Good matchup here because Ervin really likes to swing at the fastball. He's got good bat speed, and he'll cut it loose here. Although Black has shown to have a pretty good slider too.
Drive, left center field. Phillip Ervin, walk it off. Phillip Ervin touches the ball, and he'll be mobbed at home plate. Reds win it 2-1. And just like we promised, it's time for the Miller Lite Hold True moment. None bigger than that moment.
Well, there is the slider, and he got it right on the barrel of the bat. A no-doubter into the Giants bullpen, and that's what the Reds have been looking for all night long.
Throw that helmet off. Nothing like the winning bounce at home plate. And let's go down to the man of the moment, Phillip Ervin with Jeff Pecora.
All right, thank you very much, Jim. I'm here with the man of the moment, and man, that was so cool. That was a great swing.
Thank you. I felt really good off the bat, so.
The first pitch you saw, you got a really good swing. Are you timing the guy on that when you know the guy can throw 99 miles an hour?
I mean,
I'm getting better at getting out of the way. Get back to this. You timing a guy on that first pitch?
I'm watching a little video. I've been watching him like the previous bat, and I see he'd like to throw this fastball. So I was trying to jump on the first one, but like you said, it was a little in for me. But I got the next one, like the little slider. So.
First walk-off home run as a major league player. How cool is that?
Oh, it's amazing. I can't even it's something I dream about. So
all of us as little kids do that, but you just got to experience it.
I know it's a great feeling. Hopefully, all the kids grow up and achieve their dreams.
All right, when you hit home plate and everybody's there, what's the worst thing that happens in there?
I don't know. Everything is fine. This is the worst part, getting the cooler, but this also is a great feeling.
You're getting a big chance right now, and I think you're proving something to people, aren't you?
I'm trying to. I'm just trying to. So.
Just having fun right now.
I'm just like I said. I'm just out there having fun and trying to prove to people that I can play here. So.
Congratulations on a big hit.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Congratulations. All right, guys, that is one happy and one wet Phillip Ervin. Jim?
Deservedly so. First career walk-off home run for Phillip Ervin. And the Reds take game one of this three-game set in dramatic fashion. Reds Live, the post-game edition is around the corner. Don't you dare go away.